The Al Smith Dinner, a New York tradition, a night where the city's elite gather, dressed to the nines, ready for an evening of wit and humor, a night for politicians to trade jokes, to raise money for charity. It's usually a lighthearted affair filled with laughter and camaraderie. This year? Forget about it. The atmosphere was different, charged with anticipation and a hint of tension. It became a political battleground. Donald Trump was there, and his presence was impossible to ignore. He couldn't resist the spotlight. Every word he spoke was calculated, every gesture deliberate. He threw punches at his opponents. Kamala Harris wasn't there. She was busy campaigning, making her absence all the more noticeable. Her absence became a punchline too. The room was divided. Some people laughed, some people booed. The reactions were as polarized as the political climate. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. You could feel it in the air, a palpable sense of unease. This wasn't your grandma's Al Smith dinner. It was an evening full of unexpected moments and sharp exchanges. This was politics, raw and unfiltered. A night that would be remembered for its intensity and its break from tradition.
Kamala Harris? Absent as usual. You know, it's like she's playing hide and seek with her responsibilities. And her record? Don't even get me started. It's like a broken record of failures and missed opportunities. And her husband? Well, let's just say he's got his hands full. I mean, can you imagine the dinner conversations at their house?
Trump didn't hold back. He was in his element, taking jabs left and right. He aimed his jokes at Kamala Harris. He called her absent. He mocked her record. He even took a swipe at her husband. He even brought up her husband, making the audience wonder what he would say next. The crowd's reactions were mixed. Some laughed along, finding the humor in his words. Others cringed, feeling the sting of his barbs. It was clear. Trump's jokes landed with a thud for some. The room was divided, with some people clearly unimpressed. But for his supporters, it was red meat. They cheered and clapped, loving every moment of his roast. One joke in particular sparked outrage. It was a comment that many found to be in poor taste. Trump made a comment about Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. The room fell silent for a moment. The joke was seen as insensitive. It struck a nerve with many in the audience. It drew groans from the crowd. The atmosphere shifted, and the discomfort was palpable. The room was a microcosm of America, divided. Trump supporters cheered his every word. His critics shook their heads in disgust. The jokes weren't the only problem. The atmosphere was tense. The event lacked the lighthearted spirit of previous years. It felt more like a campaign rally than a charity dinner. Some attendees expressed disappointment. They felt the event had become too political. Others defended Trump's right to free speech. Section 4. The empty chair speaks volumes. Kamala Harris's absence was, well, deafening. Trump and his supporters used it as ammunition. They claimed she was afraid to face him. Harris's team defended her decision, saying she was busy campaigning. But, you know, the damage was done. Her absence became a symbol of the division in American politics. Some people argued that Harris should have attended, saying it was a missed opportunity to connect with voters. Others understood her decision, noting that the campaign trail was more important. Section 5. Beyond the laughter. A divided nation. The Al Smith dinner is supposed to be a night of unity, a chance for politicians to put aside their differences, to come together in a spirit of camaraderie and mutual respect. This year, it did the opposite. Instead of fostering unity, it underscored the deep divisions that plague our nation. It highlighted just how divided America has become, with every joke and every comment serving as a reminder of the chasm between us. The jokes were just a symptom of a larger problem, a problem that runs deep in American society, affecting every aspect of our lives. We live in a time of intense political polarization, where every issue becomes a battleground and every conversation a potential conflict. It's getting harder and harder to find common ground, to have meaningful discussions without descending into arguments. The Al Smith dinner was a reminder of that, a stark illustration of the challenges we face. It was a reminder that we have a long way to go, that healing these divisions will require effort, understanding, and a willingness to listen. If we can't even laugh together, how can we ever hope to solve our problems? Laughter is often seen as a bridge, a way to connect. But when even that fails, it shows just how deep our divisions run.